Welcome to the Frozen Forum podcast. You're joined here by me, Alex, and a host, and Nathan DaCosta, our other host. How is it going, Nathan?
Hello, everyone. I'm not too bad. Busy day with co-op. How was your day?
The day is not yet done, and there's still more to do. But we're here anyways. We're recording a podcast. It's Wednesday night. Nathan, do you know why this week is incredibly important to the Habs?
Nope. I'm hoping you are going to inform me.
Well, perfect. This week, did you know?
Much. I didn't prepare much at all for this episode, so
It's all good. We're all going to learn a little bit. This episode is going to focus on the prospects of the Montreal Canadiens. And the reason we're focusing on the prospects today is because today, Wednesday, September 11th, is the start of the Habs rookie camp. Not only is it the start of the Habs rookie camp, where they have invited over 24 players to play and to practice with coaches and all that kind of stuff in Montreal, they are also playing 2 games this weekend. Saturday, September 14th, Sunday, September 15th, we are playing the Toronto Maple Leafs prospects to see who has the better prospect pool. Now, I don't expect those 2 games to be close because honestly, who is a prospect for the Toronto Maple Leafs anymore? I'm pretty sure they got nobody over there. We've got a full stack of players that are here with us this week in Montreal. And Nathan, this is really important because some of these prospects can make the NHL team. Now, not all of them can. Obviously, there's 24 guys that are invited to this camp, and they're going to try to play most of them this weekend to see how they do. But this is really the first look for a lot of these prospects with the team. And so we're going to get right into it. We're going to kind of structure this first bit of the podcast is going to be about the players who are actually playing this week in camp. And then we'll go on to some other prospects that we've been watching, such as Ivan Demidov, who has now had 3 full KHL games. Only has 1 assist, but we can talk about that after because there's some controversy in Russia. Obviously there's some other controversy in Russia, but specifically with Ivan Demidov, there's some controversy in Russia. So, Nathan, you ready to get into this?
Let's go. I'm gonna bounce off whatever you're saying here, but yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Let's go. Also, as a side note, we're not cutting this anywhere. I don't have time to do it tonight, so whatever goes. Let's get into it. Nathan, who is your favorite prospect on the Montreal Canadiens right now? And by the way, not to try to bias you in any which way, Lane Hutson is still listed as a prospect. So who's your favorite prospect on the Montreal Canadiens right now?
Okay, well, I was going to say Lane Hutson, but I'm going to say Joshua.
Joshua Waugh. Fun fact, he's actually not playing this week in the rookie camp, which means they don't consider him a rookie anymore. Now, I think he's still a rookie. He's only played 26 games in the NHL. However, the Montreal Canadiens are under the impression that he starts the season with the team is basically what that tells me. If he's not playing among the rookie camp, he's only 21 years old, and there are a lot of guys on this roster who are older than that. I think Joshua makes the team. You think Joshua makes the team?
Most likely, yeah. I could see him on the 3rd or 4th line. Not 1st or 2nd, but definitely 3rd or 4th. He's probably going to be on the team this season.
You watched the World Juniors last year, right? With or not last year, the year before with Connor Bedard.
Yes.
You remember Joshua played with Connor Bedard.
Do you
remember what Connor Bedard said about Joshua Waugh?
Remind me.
He said Joshua Waugh, which as a side note, we're going to get into his nickname in a second. His nickname is Wawa, which I think is really funny. Joshua Waugh is the most skilled, highly thinking player that Connor Bedard had played with at that point in time. That was his comment. Was Joshua Waugh extraordinarily high thinking player of the game. He's an exciting prospect. But let's get into the actual guy I wanted to talk about, which is Lane Hutson. Nathan, I would think that you love Lane Hutson because you are also a defenseman. You played defense your whole life. What about Lane Hutson's game? I know you've watched his highlights. He played those 2 games in Detroit last year. What do you really like about his game? What do you not necessarily like about his game? What are you hoping to see from him this week?
This week, yeah. Let's start with the beginning. So, NCAA, when he was playing in the NCAA, he looked like the Cale Makar of the NCAA. He was getting 1.5 points a game. I think it was actually 1.4 a game, but nobody else was even close to what he was doing there. I think we have some pretty high expectations for him heading into this camp. Hopefully light up the Leafs. Yeah.
It could be pretty cool, eh? Like the guy's dancing. I don't know if you saw the video. There's a video of him on the ice with Caden Gooley this week, and Caden was trying to defend Hudson, and like after the play, Gooley comes up to Hudson, gives him like a bear hug because like he was nowhere close to defending Lane Hutson. This kid is special. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm really excited to see what happens in these 2 games in Toronto because if he plays, like he's going to be easily, maybe not easily, but he's going to be the best player on the ice. And now he's had a little bit of time to acclimate. You watch those 2 games in Detroit. He's got 2 assists in the NHL already. Do you put him on the starting lineup of the NHL, or do you send him to the AHL to get some conditioning and to get kind of up to speed?
No, just put him in the NHL. Same thing like we did with Slavkovsky. Maybe at the beginning he wasn't ready. I mean, you could see it in those first 10, 20 games. Most other teams probably would have sent him down to the AHL, but it helped Slav develop nicely into the NHL. I think if we did the same thing with Lane Hutson, I think we would see the same results with him.
I know, obviously playing hockey, you had a lot of different coaches. We have a coach in Marty St. Louis in the NHL. We now have a coach who has coached a season in the NHL, Pascal Vincent. He was coaching with the Columbus Blue Jackets last year. Was removed from that role because Columbus Blue Jackets didn't do very well in the season. Now he's coaching our hockey team in Laval. What, if in your experience, when you go from a coach that has a lot of experience and has that like player mentality, like a Marty St. Louis, versus a coach that comes in from another team, hasn't been around the team as much, is there like a difference in how well you're able to develop, especially sorry, and I want to clarify that a little bit because it's a bad question, but especially when you look at like your interactions with your coaches, did you have certain coaches that were just able to understand your style of play a little bit better, and others that were kind of trying to push you into a mold that didn't really fit?
Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a few coaches in the past, so I honestly found that my best coaches, not even just hockey, like even in, because I compete in track and field, the coaches that competed in the sport most recently were the best coaches. They understood the essence of the game or the event or whatever it is, and they know where to put you in better situations. Whereas someone who used to play as well, but just played a while ago, and they might not have the sense that they used to have, but that's just the way it is. So yeah, I think having a coach like Marty St. Louis would be most beneficial for a player like Lane Hutson.
Do you think it also helps that like Marty is a smaller guy and Lane is obviously a smaller guy as well? Like, do you think they have like that? I actually don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like Lane Hutson would look up more to one of the other leaders on the team, like Cole Caulfield. He's also a small guy. Yeah, I feel like he would look up more to Cole Caulfield just because he's playing with him than Marty St. Louis. Yeah.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair. I guess I wonder if Marty would not be able to like relate better to Lane and be able to coach him a little better, knowing how it is to come up as a smaller player in the NHL. But I guess that's totally fair. And I think that the dressing room too in Montreal is structured in a way that Lane should feel very comfortable talking to Cole about how to acclimate properly. Right.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Lane Hutson. He's our first prospect we're talking about. As a side note, he's listed here as 5'10". I've heard a lot of people say he's not 5'10", he's like 5'9". Lane was very, very adamant when he got drafted, because when he got drafted, he was 5'9". He was very adamant he was still going to grow an inch. I don't know if you remember the story. Lane Hutson went to the draft with a doctor's report where the doctor said he was still going to grow another inch because he was trying to get drafted a little higher. It's pretty funny, eh? Would you do the same thing? Like, could you imagine bringing a doctor's note saying, "Hey, I'm gonna grow. Don't worry."
Hey, anything to get an edge in the draft, but that's pretty good. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. He's listed at 162. Obviously, not the kind of weight that you want to see from a defenseman in the NHL. But again, everything I've heard about him is he doesn't play defense. He plays a new position in the NHL called rover. He's just there where he needs. He's wherever he needs to be, basically. Obviously, 2 points in 2 games. Let's go to our next prospect. We'll flip back up to the forwards. I want to talk about Owen Beck. Owen Beck, another player on that World Junior team with Connor Bedard. Although Beck was playing, I believe, a second line center roles. What have you seen from Beck before? What do you know about him? Tell me anything you know, and then we'll try to fill in the gaps and see what he's going to do this week.
Nothing. This one's all you.
This is all me? Okay, Owen Beck. Everybody, he was playing for the Peterborough OHL team this past season. He was traded to Saginaw in hopes of chasing the Memorial Cup. In this last season in the OHL, he posted a total of 81 points in 57 games. Obviously, you can't really look at those totals and say he's going to be a superstar in the NHL because he's a 20-year-old playing in the O. The big thing here is he played for the World Junior team, had a goal in 5 games. But the thing that Owen Beck brings to a team is more that leadership. Everybody kind of projects him as a third line center ceiling kind of guy, right? So I don't know who's your like looking back. Do you remember any like the third line centers on our team? Because I honestly
No,
right? Okay, so he's sort of that guy. Is apparently how he's kind of projecting. 6 foot, 194 pounds, which is not bad for 6 feet, especially as a center. Right shot. So he's going to be up here in our prospect camp. We're looking for him to actually break in the AHL this year. He should have a full season in the AHL. He'll be called up if we have injuries on our forwards. I don't think he's starting with the team in the NHL, but this is really going to be the year that he either does really well in the AHL, gets called up and continues to do well, or he might not have the brightest of futures with the Montreal Canadiens. Another player like that, do you remember drafting Philippe Méchard when we drafted Juraj Slafkovský? Okay, Philippe Méchard was drafted 26th overall in the 2022 draft. He was the third Slovakian player to be drafted. That was Slafkovský was obviously drafted first overall. Simon Nemec was drafted second overall, and then Méchard was third. Méchard is 5'9". Now, people don't really like this draft pick. And he's 179 pounds. He's been playing in the O for the Kitchener Rangers. I'm actually surprised we haven't gone to see him. But who really wants to watch the Kitchener Rangers? No offense. Hey, they're a good team, but
they're better than the Ice Dogs. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, the Ice Dogs got their own problems. Yeah. But with the Kitchener Rangers, scored 52 points, 45 games. A 5'9" player on the team. There's a lot of talk. We're going to pivot a little bit to talking about the Canadiens in general, because there's a lot of talk about how many small guys you can have on an NHL roster. So, assuming Cole Caulfield is 1, and assuming Lane Hutson is 2, how many smaller, under 5'10", or 5'10" and under guys can you have on the team and still feel comfortable about this team, Nathan?
In the current NHL, you see smaller players lighting it up. Like in recent years, if you compare the NHL now to the NHL in the 80s and 90s, the players who are lighting up are smaller, lighter, quicker, more importantly, lighter and quicker, like Connor McDavid, for example. But you need those bigs on your team. They are like the wall around your core to defend your core players, like those fast guys. You need them. You saw it. The Golden Knights had a few guys. The Panthers had a few guys. The Avs had some enforcers. The Canadiens don't really. They have Arbor Xhekaj, young guy. They need some older, tougher guys on the team that can defend our core. And I believe each team that makes it deep into the playoffs have some of those guys.
Okay, so then if you've got 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, 18 players in total up front, how many players under 5'10", max?
Or max, but no more than 3 of them can be on the first 2 lines.
Yeah, right? Okay. That's sort of the number I was coming to as well. I was thinking 3. 4 sounds okay as well, if, I think, as you're saying, you have that protection up front. Now, I actually think the blue line of the Habs is a lot tougher than you might think. We've got Jaden Struble, who has been putting on weight this summer. I don't know if you call him a prospect anymore, but he's fighting for one of those defenseman spots. He's not playing this week in this rookie camp, but Jaden Struble is I think he's 6'3", 220, 230, something like that. You've got Logan Mailloux, or actually we can transition right into that. Logan Mailloux, the big pick from the 2021 draft for that big reason. Logan Mailloux, 6'3", 220. This is not a small kid. Obviously, you've got Uri Slavkovsky, who's weighing in at 6'3", 220. Actually, I think last year he was even like 228 or something like that. You've got Caden Gooley. I think he's 6'2", 2 something. Kirby Doc's coming in at 6'4". We just picked up Patty Laine. He's coming in at 6'5". So I think we got some of those bigger guys, but I agree with you. No more than 4. And so Philip Machar really doesn't have a spot, I don't think. If anything, I think he slots in like Arturi Lehkonen did back in the day. The only difference is that we drafted Machar 26th overall. We drafted Arturi Lehkonen in like the 7th round or something. And that's a lot better place to find a 5'9" guy who just barely squeaks in the lineup and doesn't do much on your team. But we can hope that Machar turns into the player that the Habs thought he was back when they drafted him up there. But let's talk about Logan Mailloux. What have you seen from him?
This is all you again.
You watched that last game. You watched the Detroit game, right?
I did.
Last year?
I do not remember that.
It's been a while. Logan Mailloux scored his first ever NHL point in his first ever NHL game. He got an assist as well, which as a side note, that means Logan Mailloux and Lane Hutson came in to play the last 2 games of the NHL, played 3 games, got 3 points between the two of them. Has to be a great start for the two of them. Logan Mailloux, of course, 6'3", 220, had that huge controversy back at his draft year. He was sued in Sweden for the distribution of photographs that were not taken with consent. And of course, we have absolutely no sympathy for that kind of action on this podcast. However, do you think he has grown? Do you think he has had enough time to grow out of those kinds of things to be admitted into the NHL and kind of put that kind of past behind him and hopefully forge a career in the NHL?
Within 3 years, yes, I hope he's been able to get far past that. And if he hasn't, he doesn't deserve a place in the NHL. He doesn't deserve a place in any league if he's still doing that garbage off ice. But yeah, at this point, 3 years with the potential of being in the NHL, being a good player for the Habs, I don't see why you'd risk it over stupid decisions like that again.
I agree. And I think looking at all of the interviews that he's done, I think he's been taking a lot of big steps to try to not necessarily make up for, because it's really hard to do that just in the world in general, but to help educate other people about the mistakes that he made to make sure that other people don't make them. And so that's been good to see from him as well. Let's go into the big name, drafted 5th overall last year, Mr. David Reinbacher. He's another 6'3" defenseman, weighing in at 209 pounds. What do you know about David Reinbacher, Nathan Costa?
This one is you.
This is a fun podcast, man. I just get to talk about the prospects I like. I wanted to ask you a question though. David Reinbacher in this past season, he was playing with Kloten in the Swiss League. Okay, again, just another step in his development. However, there was a lot of criticism about his game. He didn't take any big steps. He only had 11 points in 35 games. As a former player, former defenseman, how hard is it to like have a little bit of pressure on you in terms of development, and like how hard is it to come out of a little bit of a slump and still be able to perform after that?
Dealing with pressure in sports, I would say, is more an individual thing. Some people love the pressure. Like me personally in sports, I love and I thrive in the pressure in those moments. That's when I compete at my highest level. But a lot of people don't. So I think we'll see this weekend. He is playing this weekend, right?
He is.
He will definitely have some pressure on him. We'll see how he performs and see if he is one of those guys that can perform under pressure. And if not,
I mean, he's still young, right? Drafted last year. He's only 19 years old.
Yeah.
I think 25-10-4. Yeah, October 25th. So yeah, he's only 20. He's only 19 years old. He did play 11 games in the AHL, which was his first time in his career playing on smaller ice. Now, in those 11 games, he scored 5 points, including 2 goals as a defenseman. Now, David Reinbacher, a lot of people are writing him off, saying he's not that good of a prospect. At the end of the day, he was drafted 5th overall. And the Montreal Canadiens, if there's anything that you and I think can agree on, is we've got a lot of faith in this management team. So, 6'3", right shot defenseman. Do you think? I mean, I think we can say he starts in Laval this year. Do you think he's going to make it up to the NHL this season if he continues at that AHL trajectory that he started off last year?
Okay, based on purely just the numbers that you've told me, he doesn't sound like he's going to be a superstar for us. Doesn't sound like he will be on the first or second line as a defenseman. He could be a third string defenseman, but he has the size, which Montreal could definitely use more of in their back end. I know you just mentioned a lot of guys, but
No, of course.
he said he was 6'4", 240?
It says 6'3", 209 at the moment. But again, 19. Like he can add weight
Yeah, so
if he needs to.
He can definitely put on some mass, and that he could play a role in the Habs that way. He could be that enforcer we need in the back instead of having Xhekaj do everything. If we had two,
we're gonna come back to this next week on the podcast, and because I'm expecting both of us to be watching the rookie games this weekend, and we'll see what you think about his game, because I think David Reinbacher is the one guy who on paper doesn't look that great. I personally think he could be the next Shea Weber. He's got the frame. He's got potentially the slap shot from the point. Again, two goals in 11 games as a defenseman in the AHL, playing your first ever games on smaller ice. It is not that bad of a stat. And so I'm really excited about him. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, but we'll see this weekend what he can do. He's probably playing with Lane Hutson, and so we'll see how the two of them come together. Now, as for the rest of the lineup, there are 2 other players I wanted to talk about, but we can go through them pretty quickly. This week, we are seeing the first few games from a guy named Luke Tuch. Luke Tuch being the brother of Alex Tuch, playing for now the Buffalo Sabres, I believe.
Yep.
Luke, I'm assuming you don't know anything about Luke Tuch. Luke Tuch played Boston University with Lane. So the last 3 years, he's been on the Boston University team. This past season, 28 points playing on the third line of Boston University in 38 games played. So 28 points, 38 games. It's not great. Luke Tuch, again, one of these guys who is going to be a backup option for the bottom 6 of the lineup. One of these guys. He's probably going to start in the AHL, I'm assuming. He's going to come in. And then we've got the big name, the guy that we picked pretty early in the draft, actually, last year. A guy named Florian Xhekaj. You know Florian Xhekaj, Nathan?
Yes. Lives down the street from us, actually. Down in the Hammer.
Down in the Hammer, exactly. He actually played. I know his brother played Pelham Panthers hockey. Arbor played Pelham Panthers. I don't know if Florian did as well. But Florian, now, unlike his brother, who's 6'3" and 230, Florian is only 6'3" and 196. That kind of player obviously brings the same level of tenacity and grit as Arbor does. That kind of player, how much could the Montreal Canadiens bottom of the lineup use that kind of player?
I can't speak too much to it because I haven't seen him play all that much, but assuming he...
like his actual style of gameplay, he is a forward, but the way he plays the game is almost exactly the same as Arbor. Like in terms of like the amount of grit, the amount of fights he got in, like I guess that's actually not that many. He only got 81 penalty minutes last year through 63 games. So probably only fought like 17 times or 7 times, whatever the number is. He fought a few times, but he brings that kind of level of almost exactly the same as his brother, to be completely honest. So let's say, obviously I haven't seen him play very much either. assuming he brings the same secondary aspects as Arbor does, how much like do you think that helps the Habs top or bottom six?
He's as physical as you're saying. He could also be one of those guys who is that barrier for the core squad. I've said it once and I'll say it again. We need more enforcers on our team. That's what our team is lacking. If you have a line with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki out, and then there's a 3 men in a scrap, what are they going to do? I love them. They're great players, but they're not.
I mean, that's why you put Uri Slafkovsky on that line. You got 230 pounds barreling at you if you do anything to Cole Caulfield, right?
Yes, but we also need Uri Slafkovsky. So that's why you need some other players who have the purpose of being the enforcer on the ice. And if he is an enforcer just like his brother, following in his footsteps, I think we could use him.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so we've gotten through a lot of the players here. The one player a lot of Habs fans are talking about, I won't spend too much time on him, is Riley Kidney. He was playing in Laval last year. He's a center coming up through the system. Other than that, we don't really have very many prospects playing in this rookie camp that are notable. We have a few from this year's draft, including Owen Protz, who's a defenseman picked 102nd overall. I haven't seen him play. I'm very excited to see what he can bring. But with that, and the other player I was going to talk about there was Oliver Kapanen. He's not playing this weekend either. Oliver Kapanen is probably going to be starting in Laval this season, playing in Finland right now. Other than that, let's get into the big names that are not playing in our rookie camp, who we are very excited about. And we'll start that off by talking about Mr. Ivan Demidov, or Mr. Ivan Demigod, whatever you want to call him. Tell me about, first of all, we can start about like right from the draft, about what you were hearing about him. And then we can come up to today. I'll tell you about how he played on Saturday.
You should kick this off.
I kicked this off. Well, Ivan Demidov was the guy that was supposed to go second overall by a lot of the rankings pre-draft. A lot of the scouts had him as the second best prospect. We talked a little bit about him last week, about how he could have been picked first overall if he had played in the CHL. Ivan Demidov has now played 3 games in the KHL. Okay, this is his first time playing with men. Obviously, the KHL is regarded as the second best league in the world. Obviously, with the NHL being first, they are rated higher than the AHL just because of the quality of players. He's playing on a line with Kuznetsov, a former Washington Capitals player, who has now gone back to Russia to play in Russia. And we have a little bit of news today. The big controversy is that he might be benched in the game tomorrow, which Habs fans, you can imagine, are not very happy about. Can you talk to me about how, like, I assume, I never played, so I actually don't know, but I assume while you grow up, you make teams that are age brackets a little bit higher, right? You might go from the, I don't know, if you have like a 11 to 13-year-old league, and then you have a 14 to 16-year-old league. You might go from being the oldest player in the league that you're in, or in like the division that you're in, to going in being the youngest. Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe it doesn't even exist. Maybe I'm high on something. But can you talk a little bit about that and talk to me about how that jump like makes a difference in how you play?
Okay, so Demidov's played 3 games up in the K, right? So he's playing against real men now at this point. So I'm assuming, being a top 10 draft pick in the NHL, your ego must be pretty high. He thought he was going to cruise his way through the KHL for a season and land his way into the Habs roster. If I was him, that's probably what I would think too. I'd be on top of the world. But then, obviously, what we see based on his performance, that's not what happened. And his coaches know what he can be too, and that's probably the best thing his coaches could do. Show him, hey, get back down to earth here. You're not all that. You got to work a bit harder now. You're up against real men. That's it, yeah.
That's it. And then can you talk about like when you're a kid, does that happen? Do you like go up in divisions? Am I right when I say that?
If you move from you would not see that happen in double A, single A, or house league until you're like 12, and then it might start to happen in like single double A. It happens in triple A the whole time because they want to keep that um, somewhat professional level.
Right.
Because most triple A or not most, but a good portion of triple A players, you'll see them progress to the OHL, AHL,
Right.
and you want to set those expectations early.
Right. Okay. And then one of the big controversy the Habs fans are talking about with regards to Demidov is that his coach, or I think it's either his coach or the manager of the team, one or the other, actually knows nothing about hockey and was put into the position by Vladimir Putin. So now I don't actually know if that's true. I've been seeing things on the internet by Habs fans that are making are saying very blatantly that that's what's going on, and are saying because this guy knows nothing about hockey, this is why Demidov isn't getting the minutes and things like that. How hard do you think it is to play under a coach if you have like not a lot of respect for him, or if you like what are you even supposed to do? Like I like as a Demidov as a player, like do you listen to the guy and like do things that are completely against your nature, or
No, you're not listening to a guy that doesn't know anything about hockey, and that's probably why he's getting benched. This guy who's his coach is telling him to do things, and he's probably not listening to him. And then he also happens to be not putting up many points.
I mean
Benched.
he got a point in his first game. That's pretty exciting. He only has one shot on goal in each of the last two games, so it's not even like he's getting a lot of chances. Um, a lot of people are saying the quality that he's playing with is not very good. So we'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on that through the season. The other big player, we talked a little bit about him at the beginning of this, Mr. Joshua Waugh. He's 21. Officially, he's drafted in 21, which I thought it was pretty funny. Everybody drafted in 21 is now 21. 164th overall, fifth round. This guy is maybe playing in the NHL in his D+3 year. How important is it that Waugh stays grounded? Because I think you saw this with Xhekaj. He got sent down to the AHL because his head was getting a little bit too big, right? Like he thought he had earned his full-time role in the NHL, and he stopped paying attention to all of the little things, and he gets sent down. We could probably see the same thing from Waugh if he does the same thing. So how important is it for Waugh to like stay grounded in everything he's doing?
Well, it's obviously everything. Like you got to be able to stay grounded there. But I mean, if he has players that I'm assuming he's talking with, like Xhekaj nearly snipped from the team. I think it was even this year.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost not on the roster, so he has guys who he could talk to, guys that hopefully will mentor him and keep him where he should be, nice and grounded. And yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Awesome. That's what Joshua Waugh is going to be doing. The only other, obviously, we could talk a little bit of Michael Hage, who was drafted this year. I don't 100% know actually where he's going to be started. I was surprised he wasn't in our rookie camp, and maybe I need to look into this a little bit more as to why he's not. But I mean, drafted just this past year, you would think he would be in the rookie camp. He's not. So maybe he's, I don't know, doing something like obviously Ivan Demidov, you would want him to be here, but he's playing in the K. Way better experience than coming to a rookie camp. Also not on the roster, Jacob Fowler, Boston College, I think now graduate. I think he might actually have either graduated or he's left the program. Maybe he didn't. Actually, maybe he didn't leave the program. I'm not even sure. He's their goalie prospect, Jacob Fowler, known as like the second or third best goalie prospect in the league right now. He's also not on the rookie camp roster. What are the Montreal Canadiens doing over here? Like are we just?
We're praying that Carey Price comes back.
Well, that's going to be a short right there. Pray Carey Price comes back because I mean Samuel Montembeault and Caden Primo should be pretty good options this season. Maybe we'll see Fowler in the actual camp. Camp will start, by the way. Next week is the golf tournament on Wednesday. And so we will have lots to talk about. We'll talk about how Nick Suzuki shoots on the golf course. Just kidding. We won't actually because I don't know how to find those numbers. But we will be talking about the prospects next week, just about what we see in this tournament against the Leafs. As a Habs fan, is there any time in the season that you don't really care if we win or lose? Like, this is a rookie game, but like, do you still feel invested?
I feel a little invested, but no, not too much right now.
Like, if the Leafs showed up with, John, whatever, like, I don't even know who's in their prospect pipeline anymore. I'm pretty sure there is nobody because they haven't been drafting. Like, if they show up and they beat us, like, is that not a little bit of a hit towards the whole idea of a rebuild?
No, I don't think so. I mean, some of our big prospects aren't even in the camp itself. 99% of the prospects that are there anyways aren't even going to see the league. They might not ever see the league, actually. And some of them might be like 4 or 5 years. It's not the biggest thing. I think more important is seeing those prospects like Lane Hutson in preseason. Preseason would be more determinant of that, because then you're actually playing against guys that play in the NHL.
Preseason. You're going to get me talking about preseason over here. Guess what? Preseason starts September 23rd. We are only 12 days away, Nathan DaCosta, from the preseason starting. We're playing the Philadelphia Flyers in our first game, playing the very next day on the 24th against the New Jersey Devils. And that's going to be, I think that's when they start to put real people on the ice, real prospects and stuff. But obviously they've got training camp in the middle of that. So they'll be doing some work. There's been a lot of videos showing a lot of Montreal Canadiens prospects and players being in the city of Montreal these past few weeks. Do you think it's a good sign that the players are coming a little bit early, not just showing up for the beginning of camp? Like, what does that really show about the team?
Shows they have chem. Shows that they actually enjoy being around each other. It's not just for the hockey, not just for the money. The hockey, they actually are friends. They have the chemistry. They want to be around each other, and having real friends like that. I mean, even when we play just for fun, for school hockey, like, it's just fun to do it with your friends, and winning with your friends is just enjoyable. And to see them all like that, it just puts them in the right mindset going into the season.
I agree. Other than that, is there any other things you wanted to talk about prospects in Montreal?
Prospects. Is there anything you want to talk about?
I think I'm good. I did have one other thing we want to talk about on the podcast today, which I might not have told you about. But
I also have one thing.
Oh, you also have, okay, let's do your thing first, and we'll see if you plan the same thing.
Okay. Well, the former Hab captain signed to the Leafs on a PTO. Did we not call this last week?
I did see this.
Yeah.
It's very sad. I don't know what he's doing. His life's going down the gutter. You know how low you have to be in life to sign with the Leafs team right now? I'm pretty sure I just completely slandered what's his name, Tanev, that signed there this year, and OEL signed as well in the offseason. Oh well, they made bad decisions. Everybody makes bad decisions sometimes, and it's okay. Pacioretty, I mean, he'll make the team if he's in shape.
Pacioretty, let's just be honest, he loves hockey. They have a few superstars, but it's the Leafs. If we see them get out of the first round, I will shave my head.
There we go.
If they get out of the first round, I will shave my head.
Man, now how much would it hurt if Pacioretty makes the team and is like the game-winning goal in Game 7 to get them out of the first round? Like, does it hurt, or is it more like, wow, it's good that he's like,
I would rather be Pacioretty than that bum Matthews. Captain.
Yeah. Captain Matthews now, eh? Well, it's a big difference, you know. If you put the C on your chest, maybe you wake up and feel more happy in the morning.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Okay, Matthews is a good player. He just needs to learn to play a bit of defense. That's
with that, and I don't know. I don't think he's captain material, but I guess we'll see this year.
Put Pacioretty as the captain of the Leafs.
Yeah. Put Patches. Hey, I actually would support it. Patches probably better captain material.
Mm-hmm.
I had a segment on here. We talk about the NHL so much, but there's some news in the rest of the hockey world. Nathan, did you see the PWHL released their logos and names for all 6 teams in the league.
I did see that. But the only team I follow on Instagram is Toronto. The Toronto.
You follow the Toronto team, really?
Yes, I do follow the Toronto team.
Would you consider them your team?
Yeah, I'd consider them my team only because one of the girls on the team went to my high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like you have to. You don't have an option.
I have an option, but I gotta rep the school. So yeah.
That's pretty funny. No, I see. I chose Montreal last year, not because I'm a Habs fan, because obviously they're very different teams, but because my favorite female hockey player was their first overall pick. I was gonna say the wrong name. That's actually so funny. The one and only person who was hired by the Montreal Canadiens to be a coach, and I'm actually so blanking on her name right now. This is actually crazy. Who am I talking about? Captain of Team Canada.
Marie-Philippe Poulin.
There you go. There. See, look at this guy. She's my favorite player. I don't remember her name right when Nathan puts me on the spot. That being said, it was Marie-Philippe Poulin who was their first overall pick, I think, in that opening draft. We've got 6 logos. I'd like you to pull them up because right now we are going to rank them 1 to 6. We're going to say this one is the worst. This one is the best. We're going to do it right here on the Frozen Forum podcast because we talk about hockey, and this is hockey. This is big news. I thought some of them are home runs. I honestly thought there's 1 or 2 logos in here that I was like, wow, this is a great thing. And then there are some that I went, what on earth are they doing? Tell me when you got them up, and we'll start.
Oh my
got them?
God. Yes, I got them.
Oh my God, what was that reaction for? What did you see?
We'll save it for the end. Okay, my favorite of the 6, I really like Minnesota's and Toronto's logos.
Very interesting. A lot of people have Minnesota as their number 5 or number 4 or 5. So you're saying, and actually, to be completely honest, I'll agree with you. I thought it was really clean. Like, I think it looks super clean. I love the color.
I think it's clean, simplistic. Yeah, I think I'd keep Toronto 1, Minnesota 2. I like what New York did with the sirens thing, like having it pop out a bit. Probably the Sirens 3, Montreal 4, Boston 5.
And the Calgary Flames 6?
Yeah, the Calgary Flames 6. What?
The best line I think I've heard this week on this, you know that Ottawa Charge logo, you know what it looks like? It looks like you asked a Calgary Flames player to draw his logo.
That's better.
Does it not? Does it not? You look at it, you're like, oh my God, what are they doing? I didn't really know about that one. The Ottawa one, I agree. I think everybody agrees. It goes down to 6. It's just too close to so many things that we've seen before. First of all, if it was completely brand new, I don't think it would actually be that bad. It's just more that it doesn't have its own identity, and at the same time, it looks like I could draw it. And I can't draw anything. You've seen that, but I'll agree. I'll agree with the Toronto one being pretty high up there, but I put the Montreal one first, and I'm not saying that from a biased perspective. I swear, it's not biased. But you look at the attention to detail in this logo. The first thing I'd like you to see is that all of those red things in the middle, they make a diamond, and they're making a diamond because obviously Montreal is considered the diamond of the league. They're called the Victoire because of the long history of success in the city of Montreal in hockey. And they have that little M right in the middle. I don't know if you probably miss it. Everybody misses it. There's an M in blue right in the logo for the Montreal Victoire. I really love their logo. I thought it's really, really, really clean. I saw it and I'm like, I'm going to buy a jersey when these come out because as long as they don't mess up the jersey, because I think that jersey would look pretty cool. I think the New York one is also super clean. I'll put it 3. I like Toronto's 2. Probably put Boston. Boston's so cool. Did you realize there's an anchor? I actually didn't realize that. I was reading about them today. It's a sideways anchor because obviously Boston's right along the ocean over there. Probably the Frost at 5. Even though I love the color, even though I like the logo, it's still one of the more simple logos there. And I don't know what they're doing in Ottawa, which is a phrase that we use in both leagues now. It doesn't matter if you follow men's hockey. It does not matter if you follow women's hockey.
It doesn't
The
matter
thing,
if you follow politics. What are they doing in Ottawa?
there you go. There you go. It does not matter. Oh, man. But very cool. Very exciting for the PWHL. I can't wait for the jerseys to drop. We'll do the same thing when those drop. And maybe we'll follow some of the PWHL news as well on the podcast because it's an exciting season. This is the first full season. They only started in December of last year. And so we're going to see a full season of women's hockey. Could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I hope they see the same type of growth that the WNBA has seen over the last year as well.
Yeah. And you're just going to see so much talent start to come in as more young girls see people playing on the ice, repping team colors, repping the city that they live in. I love it. So good to see. It's always good to watch some hockey. Other than that, I don't know if there are any other things that we want to talk about the podcast. Anything else, Nathan, today?
Nothing else comes to mind. Nothing else on the agenda. So I think that's all.
Perfect. We wrap it up here. Do you want to wrap it up?
Thanks everyone for watching today. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification. If you're listening to us on Spotify, feel free to give us a follow. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and TikTok, where we post updates there. You can see some clips from our podcast, some of our best clips. And yeah, we'll catch you next week when we cover what happens at this prospect camp.
Yeah, and we'll cover for next week. We're not only covering what's happening at the prospect camp. Next week is also the week that I get to bring out one of my NHL models, and we're going to project the probability that the Montreal Canadiens make the playoffs. So we're going to do that as a very, very fun exercise. I'm basically going to ask Nathan, how many points is this guy going to score? And Nathan's going to tell me, and we're going to go down the list. And once we've got them all in the list, we'll figure out the probabilities. So that's next week too, because that is right before the preseason starts. And then we are into the preseason, and then we're into the regular season, and we're fully into everything in hockey. So exciting times.
You think we should go to the preseason game in Toronto?
I think so. I'm thinking that would be a fun idea. I still don't remember what day that is. But
I think it's
there's
Thursday.
Yeah, it's either the 26th or 28th. I don't know which one's in Toronto. Because we play them both. We play them twice. But yeah, maybe we should definitely do that.
Okay.
We should definitely look into that. So there you go. Maybe we'll have some clips for the podcast. We'll film some video. There you go. All right. Thanks everybody for watching.
Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is you're watching. We'll see you next week.